Recently, I've noticed that I feel very good almost every single day, especially over the last few weeks/months. While I was away for a few days in Morocco, I took the time to write down 6 key points that I believe are the biggest reasons for this. And I will outline them slowly in this video. A lot of them are, as always with this kind of thing, very obvious, but nonetheless I feel they're important to bring up, and I think if you follow them like I do every single day, you will also find it very difficult to feel negative or feel down on a day-to-day basis. Now the first point, and it's interesting actually, I was reading 12 Rules for Life by Jordan Peterson on my way down to Devon, where I am now, on the train, and he was like mentioning the exact same thing, which of course it's an obvious point, but sleep. Jordan Peterson was saying that for a lot of his people who come to see him as a clinical psychologist, who are suffering with all kinds of mental illnesses, often the first thing he asks is, how much are you sleeping? And if the answer is no, he always tells them just to start with that. You know, when you're sleeping 8 hours a night, then come back to me, and if you're still feeling down, still feeling depressed, then we can go from there. And I think sleep being the number one way your body recovers, if you're not able to sleep, especially over a few day period, it can dramatically affect your mood in ways you can't often always realize. So that's a huge point just there. Now the second point, and again something that is always often brought up, but I feel like people very rarely implement this one or consider the true importance of it, and that is exercise. Now I find that people in general carry a certain level of stress with them, especially as you're going through your day-to-day life. You know, it's a stressful process. You know, whether you're studying, whether you're working, you are going to be slowly building stress in your body. And if you're not exercising, then you have no way to release this, and it's going to show in all aspects of your life. When you're talking to people at work, when you're just walking home and thinking about your future. If you're holding the stress in your body and your body feels tight, you're going to be thinking a lot more negative than if you feel relaxed and the stress has been able to be released. And a great way of doing this is through exercise. Not only that, but even today I was thinking, when you're in your workplace, no matter where you are, let's say you have a normal office job and you're talking to your colleagues, if you're someone who works out, then you can expect to be 2 or 3 times stronger than the people around you, and a lot more physically capable. And I believe even in conversation, this physicality shows in confidence. So that's why I put exercise as number 2, great for relieving stress in your day-to-day life, as well as just feeling a lot more confident as you go about your day-to-day activities. Now, the next point is a lot more interesting. It's one that I think hasn't been mentioned a huge amount, but it's something that I have been doing almost every day, and I believe has huge benefits, especially in the cold winter months, in terms of general resilience and good immunity, and that is exposure to the hot and cold. So I'll make another video exactly about my fitness routines, because I think I've got a very good routine going at the moment. But every day I am going in the sauna for 20 minutes and then following that by a cold shower. And if I have time, I'll do that in a few rotations. But this again is a fantastic way to relieve stress. Going in the sauna being great for recovery as well. Basically, when your body is super hot, your blood vessels will, I forget the exact word off the top of my head, I believe the word is dilate, where they get bigger to allow blood flow to increase, to then allow heat to exit the body at a faster rate, basically increasing the surface area so heat can leave your body faster. But in doing so, this is going to increase blood flow, so it's not only great for recovery, but also causes the responses that your body has to heat, which is generally sweat, which will also release a lot of toxins from your body, furthermore reducing stress. And then following that by a cold shower, So I've been doing a little bit of research into more of the benefits of cold therapy so I can show them to you guys. And this is just, I feel like it's a kind of decent summary on obviously the Wim Hof method. He's very advocative of cold therapy, but scientists have found that cold exposure speeds up metabolism, also reduces inflammation, swelling and sore muscles. Therefore, many athletes use it as physical recovery method. It's also linked to improved quality of sleep, more focus, and even an improved immune response. Now for me, I definitely find probably the biggest one is improved focus. I always take a cold shower like just before I go to work, and I go to work feeling absolutely incredible and just very switched on, I guess is the word. So I definitely recommend if your job entails a lot of talking, because obviously it's quite a skill and you need to be able to be switched on and focused to hold a good conversation. So for me, obviously I work in a restaurant at the moment, so it's very handy to be able to be alert and focused in order to work productively when I'm there. And I find that cold shower before going to work is just phenomenal for this. Okay, now I'll link the next 3 points into one just to save you some time. They're the most generic answers you will ever have heard. We've got eating a balanced, varied diet. For me, my normal meal will include some kind of meat, some rice, and some greens. Very simple. If you do that every day, you'll be well off. Eat some fruits as well. That's what I recommend. Again, I need to make another video going more into diet stuff. But I do think one thing that you could try and implement to have a more productive day is to not eat too many carbs in the morning when you wake up. For me, my go-to breakfast is an omelette. An omelette and a coffee. I just find the protein is really good to fill you up, and the fats in the eggs. Obviously I cook in butter, so you have lots of healthy fats and protein, and it's more than enough to get you through the first few hours of the day feeling good. If you have carbs early on, you can feel a bit sluggish later in the day. Also, I have found. But that's the idea with diet. The other one was drinking as much water as you can. I think very few people drink enough water in a day, and it's something that everyone can improve on, even myself. Even right now, I should really go and fill up my water bottle and be drinking water. So I'll do that in a second. The 6th point it's something that in England it's a lot harder to do at this time of year, but just getting enough sunlight in the day. Whenever you have the opportunity, especially in the cold winter months in the UK, or if you live in another cold country, just making the most of any sunlight you can have. Even today I was waiting for a bus to go to the gym, and it was running a bit late, and I had an opportunity to stand in the sunlight, and it just felt amazing. I think in the summer you can be a bit more careful, because you don't want to get too sunburnt. But in general, sunlight exposure is incredibly good for you, and another way to increase your mood. And I know it's another fact from Alex Huberman on sunlight exposure, where he believes that one of the biggest factors to a good night's sleep is getting sunlight exposure early in the morning, which is super interesting. But I can definitely see how that makes sense in terms of programming your brain to get used to the daylight hours as early as possible, so you can be ready for bed earlier rather than later when it gets dark. So definitely something else to consider there. Now, the last point is slightly different than the other points, which are all positive points. This point is, well, still positive when used in effect, but coming from a maybe slightly more negative perspective, and that is that it's all very well doing all these things, but if you have other habits that are not benefiting you in terms of like bringing you back in progress, then it's just going to outweigh the cost of the positive habits you're already implementing, and you will not see anywhere near the progress. You'll not feel anywhere near as good as you perhaps could. Examples of this is if you smoke, if you drink alcohol on a daily basis, if you take drugs, you'll of course not feel as good. All these things are things that feel great in the moment, but you suffer dearly for in the days afterwards, after doing these things. And that's definitely something that I've been implementing personally a lot, and I think it makes, especially with alcohol, makes a huge difference on a day-to-day basis when you have zero harmful substances in your body. You just feel incredible, and I'd like you guys to feel the same way. So yeah, I'm sure you understand that. I mean, you can also, even things like scrolling Instagram, excessive phone use, like all of these things are going to have a negative impact and will significantly decrease the positive effects of all the other hard work you're doing. So it's definitely a very important thing to bear in mind. And with that being said, guys, thank you for watching this video. I really appreciate the support as always, and take care.